What's up, everybody? Cinephile Mike is here, and it is day 65 of Oscar Rewind, my bi-weekly series of video commentary that reflect the work of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. I dig deep into those IMDb profiles, and my hope is that you will discover a new, older favorite, or maybe revisit something you haven't seen in a while. As always, I'll be discussing the recent Oscar connection, awards history for the film, box office information, critical response, and as always, these reviews are spoiler-free. Now, before we jump in, do me a favor, click that subscribe button because you definitely want to be a part of all the cinematic goodness coming your way here on the channel. So, for those of you, my regular followers, in case you're wondering what happened last week, I'm a little behind, I'm sorry. Technical difficulties. But I am back today, and this week ends with Halloween, and October ends, so there's not going to be any tricks here anymore, hopefully, but just treats. And we're going to wrap up this month, and you are going to get a new episode of Oscar Rewind every day this week, today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday on Halloween. We're going to end with a couple of good ones, horror ones, how could we not? Also, as we wrap up Music Month, looking at all those original song and original score nominees. Today, I am looking at Warner Bros Pictures' The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Written by the team of Delia, Ephron, and Elizabeth Chandler, and based on the novel by Ann Brashares, the film was directed by Ken Kwapis and was released in the summer of 2005. Around breaking even when you look at the factoring of all the costs and marketing, the film, which was budgeted at $25 million, actually did turn a bit of a profit, making $39,053,061 domestically and an additional $2,960,817 internationally, for a worldwide total of $42,013,878. Critically, the film was also well received, sitting with an 82% critical rating from 151 reviews and a 78% popcorn meter culled from over 250,000 audience reviews. Award season-wise for this film, it was a small one. One of the film's 4 stars, America Ferrera, won the Best Actress prize at the Imagen Foundation Awards, and she was also nominated for Best Actress at the Alma Awards and the Satellite Awards. And while not winning any, the film was nominated for 9 Teen Choice Awards. I'm not going to get into all of them, but I will say it was nominated for Choice Drama, and each of its 4 stars were nominated for 1 or 2 awards apiece. These 4 being America Ferrera, Blake Lively, Amber Tamblyn, and Alexis Bledel. Yes, you almost want to say, wait, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants or Ugly Betty Joan of the Gilmore Gossip Girls? Sorry, I couldn't help myself there. Why is this film here? Celebrated musician Brandi Carlile was nominated for her first Oscar this year alongside Elton John, Andrew Watt, and Bernie Taupin for the song Never Too Late from the film of the same name, the Elton John documentary. So we're also kind of connected to The Lion King, which I talked about 2 weeks ago. She had one of her songs included on this soundtrack. And fun fact, her song Closer to You was not directly in the film, it was on the soundtrack. This was also both a song on her debut album, and it was her first soundtrack to appear on, and she would go on to appear on several others. Where in the film? I'll get to that momentarily. So let's talk about it. The 4 that make up our sisterhood are the quiet artist Lena, played by Alexis Bledel, the brassy aspiring filmmaker Tibby, played by Amber Tamblyn, the energetic athlete B, played by Blake Lively, and the fast-talking writer Carmen, played by America Ferrera. Now, these 4 have been together literally since they were born, as their mothers met in a pregnancy aerobics class and all gave birth within a very short time span. They have been inseparable since birth, and now at the age of 15, going on 16, they are about to spend their first summer apart away from their little town of Bethesda, Maryland. Lena is off to Greece to visit her grandparents. Tibby is homebound in Maryland, working at a local drugstore to make money to make her first, as she calls it, succumentary. B is off to soccer camp in Mexico, and Carmen is off to visit her father in North Carolina. Now, before heading off, a trip to the local vintage store will brandish a gift they never saw coming. The 4 girls, being of different heights and builds, find a pair of jeans that miraculously fit all of them perfectly. Agreeing to send the pants between them throughout the summer, they all set off on their adventures, and while each will have their highs and lows, one thing is certain, they will never be the same after that summer. Lena finds her first love, Kostas, played by Michael Ratty, but learns that due to a tension between her family and his, their romance might be doomed even before it starts. Tibby feels isolated being alone and begins her documentary and inadvertently ends up assisted by a young girl named Bailey, played by Jenna Boyd, who has a secret of her own that challenges Tibby's views. Bee is feeling all alive. She's the star soccer player at her camp, but she very quickly becomes infatuated with one of the coaches, Eric, played by Mike Vogel, who offers her a glimpse of something more, although, hold up, he's 19. And this relationship will bring other issues of Bee's life into light. And finally, Carmen is excited to see her dad, played by Bradley Whitford. You know, she is a mixed heritage young woman, a Latina mother, and a white father, and she gets thrown for a loop when she shows up to see that her father has not only moved on from her and her mother, but also into this new picture-perfect family, complete with blonde-haired fiancée Nancy Travis, played by Nancy Travis, and her blonde-haired, blue-eyed children, Krista, played by Emily Tennant, and Paul, played by Kyle Schmidt. As the pants make their way and circulate between the four of them, they will learn some life lessons and suffer some hurts along the way, and again, come out a different person. I have to say, this film, it's just a really fun, well-made movie. And I'm not saying fun in a comedy sense, but it's made with so much heart. It's really clear to see how a director like Ken Kwapis would, go on to direct the pilot of The Office. He understands how to really work with an ensemble and have you get to have all of the feels. You laugh the loudest laughs. See, in particular, a very adorable scene with Lena and the water in Greece. And you also get a gut punch with the lowest lows, which I'm not going to spoil, but I'm going to say there are a few moments in this film, no matter how many times I see it, and I mean, not to compare it to films like Fried Green Tomatoes or Steel Magnolias, but this is a film that inadvertently, no matter how many times I watch it, and even though I know what's coming, I shed a tear. And, it's a 2-hour film, but it really moves at a rapid pace, so you're never bored. And you would think that, separating this friend group would do a disservice to the film, but it actually doesn't. And each of these four, at this point, some before, some after, have starred and carried their own TV shows. They all have very magnetic personalities, which make each character watchable and help you feel everything they're going through as they're having their teen angst moments. And while these aren't, Oscar caliber performances or an Oscar caliber film, although what is nowadays, it definitely rises above some of the other like teen genre films that came out around then in the early mid-aughts, and it probably helped. These actresses were all between probably around 17 to 22, 23 when this was made, so they weren't that far separated from the characters that they're playing, and their youthful exuberance really helped sell it. I have to say, back when this film came out, I wasn't originally going to see it. Gilmore Girls and Joan of Arcadia had been out. I hadn't seen those. Ugly Betty and Gossip Girl hadn't become a thing yet. But at the time, I remember I was a young teacher, and I had a lot of my students reading these books and getting excited for this film. They were Gilmore Girls fans. Alexis Bledel was really marketed as the lead because her career was the most booming at the time. So I went to see it, and I'm glad I did. It's a real, genuine coming-of-age story that doesn't diminish the characters into stereotypes. I mean, of course, as you're watching the film, you can predict how a lot of the plots are going to wrap up. But I will say there are some that subvert some expectations, and some that at first I thought were a little questionable, but because they handle them with such tact, you don't want to, write it off. Let me talk about the song, Brandi Carlile's song, Close to You. It really, while it wasn't in the film, I wish it had been, it's orchestrated to be this really tender moment between Bea and Eric. It's touching without being too saccharine. So it works. I understand why Brandi Carlile, when you look at her soundtrack list, there's a lot of impressive work there that her music has been tapped for. It's not surprising. For me, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is a solid 4-star film. It elevates beyond teen drama, and it's a wonderful comfort watch. But bring your tissues. If you would like to check this one out, it is available for rental or purchase on most platforms. The only streaming option is if you have the Roku channel. All right, so there you go. 3 more left to wrap up Music Month, and then we will move into the last month, the season finale month before we get into Oscars. They're right around the corner. As always, if you like what you heard here, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, spread the word. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd, and find lots of great additional content on my website, cinephilemike.com. All right. Happy watching, everyone, and until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.